Despite being released in Japan in 1988, Super Mario Bros. 3 wouldn't make its way to the United States until early 1990. Shigeru Miyamoto produced, Koji Kondo composed, and Takashi Tezuka directed the third official installment in Super Mario Bros. Canon. And it's fondly remembered by many as the best game in the series, at least of the original NES titles. Bringing Mario back to his roots, gone are the vegetable-pulling antics of the game we in the States call Super Mario Bros. 2, and with it the cast of characters. You're back to playing as Mario and Luigi, and new power-ups take center stage. Most iconic, the Super Leaf power-up, which gives Mario a raccoon tail and the ability to fly. A host of other items with various abilities would appear throughout the game, such as the P-Wing, the Tanuki suit, the Hammer Brothers uniform, and the Frog suit. Even further items help you traverse the overworld. Yes, Super Mario Bros. 3 was the first game to introduce the overworld map of each world. These maps gave you a little bit more of a sense of adventure, offering some choices in how you would approach an area, and requiring you to beat certain levels in order to unlock portions of the map. While it's a fairly straightforward level progression, it is a small attempt to lend a sense of scale to your journey. It's good to have that, because unfortunately the levels themselves are extremely short, oftentimes shorter than Super Mario Bros. Levels, and compared to the Super Mario 2 levels the Americans were used to, these levels could be over in a flash. Koji Kondo's style makes a striking return with music inspired from all different cultures and eras. In many instances, the level music is designed specifically to mimic the atmosphere given off by the level or world you're presently in. Themes meant to evoke the feeling of cold or warmth can come through just in the music. Sound effects feel like a part of the Mario universe. Not one blip or chirp is out of place, and in some instances in this game, sound effects can overlap the intricate music so much that the system has to cut music out in order to play the sound effect. When it comes to story, this is the first Mario game to even make much of an attempt at continuing a storyline throughout the game. Before we see how it's handled in the game, however, let's see how it's handled in the manual. In this case, we'll just use the Super Mario All-Stars Plus World manual that we've been using right along, as the text remains unchanged from the NES original. The Mushroom Kingdom has been a peaceful place thanks to the brave deeds of Mario and Luigi. The Mushroom Kingdom forms an entrance to the Mushroom World, where all is not well. Bowser has sent his 7 children to make mischief as they please in the normally peaceful Mushroom World. They stole the royal magic wands from each country in the Mushroom World and used them to turn their kings into animals. Mario and Luigi must recover the royal magic wands from Bowser's 7 kids to return the kings to their true forms. Goodbye and good luck, said the princess and Toad as Mario and Luigi set off on their journey deep into the Mushroom World. What's explained in the manual is reflected in the game. In the game, the 7 kids have the 7 wands, and you have to fight through the Koopalings, or the Koopa Kids, to retrieve the magic wands, which will turn the kings back into their former selves. The kings were transformed into different animals, and in the All-Stars version of the game, they are characters and sprites reused from earlier Mario titles. Sadly, this gets old fairly quickly, as seeing the different animals and a quick thank you once you've restored the king is practically no different than our princess is in another castle. It's nice to believe you're making progress, knocking down one Koopa Kid after another, but at the end of the day in this game, I'm left with more questions than answers. Are these Bowser's kids? If they are, then where's Bowser Jr.? I know he's introduced later, but he's still a character. Morton is also listed as a junior, so where's Morton Sr.? Who is their mother? Miyamoto, in an interview, once called himself the mother of Bowser Jr., but before I go down that Rule 34 rabbit hole, I'd better just move on to Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Launching with the North American SNES in 1991, Super Mario World was Mario's first 16-bit appearance. The game features the classic side-scrolling platforming action Mario fans came to know and love, but also brings more than just a few new staples to the Super Mario universe. Yoshi makes his first appearance as a rideable character that can eat almost anything in his way, and when certain colored Koopa Troopa shells are ingested, he gains certain extra abilities. Different colored Yoshis make their first appearance in the game as well, and their powers correspond to the Koopa Shell granted gifts. The Cape Feather is another iconic power-up found first in Super Mario World. Similar to the Super Leaf in Super Mario Bros. 3, the Mario World Cape Feather allows for flight, but this flight is sustained by allowing Mario to glide to the ground, and pressing back on the controller will occasionally give him small lifts back into the air. The game also features a power-up box at the top of the screen where players can keep a spare item which will drop when Mario is injured, or can be forcibly dropped by pressing the select button if you want to change between power-ups, say the classic Fire Flower and the Cape Feather. This would also be Mario's first use of the spin jump, which allows him to break blocks and sometimes bounce safely off of an enemy without harm. A host of new characters are also introduced throughout the game as well, again, many of whom would become longtime staples in future games. Graphically, the game was a huge leap forward compared to Super Mario Bros. 3, and everything from beautifully detailed level designs to use of Mode 7 scaling graphics in multiple places helped showcase what the Super Nintendo was capable of even in its earliest days. And if you think the graphical enhancements for Super Mario All-Stars were reserved just for the NES games, you'd be mistaken. In the original Super Mario World, Luigi is once again just a palette-swapped different color of Mario. But in Super Mario All-Stars Plus World, while Luigi controls the same as Mario, he is given his own sprite, and his own unique jumping animation. The music is what we know, love, and frankly have come to expect by this time in the Super Mario franchise. Super Mario World's sound effects still have that satisfying video game-esque sound, but everything feels familiar but new at the same time. Nothing here to make a player take pause. The instruction booklet for the All-Stars Plus World version was basically copied and pasted from the Super Mario World manual into the end of the All-Stars manual, so the story remains unchanged here, just as it did with Super Mario Bros. 3. So let's see what the Super Nintendo had in store for players. After saving the Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser and the rest of the Koopas in Super Mario 3, Mario and Luigi needed to recuperate from their adventures. Together, they agreed that the best place to vacation was a magical place called Dinosaur Land. But while Mario and Luigi reclined on the beach for a relaxing nap, Princess Toadstool disappeared, apparently seized by evil forces. After searching for hours for their missing friend, Mario and Luigi came upon an enormous egg in the forest. Suddenly, the egg hatched, and out popped a young dinosaur named Yoshi, who proceeded to tell Mario and Luigi a sad tale of how his dinosaur pals were sealed in similar eggs by a group of monstrous turtles. "Monstrous turtles!" exclaimed Luigi. "Bowser and his bunch have returned." Mario slowly nodded his head in agreement, and along with Luigi and Yoshi, set off across Dinosaur Land to find the princess and to free Yoshi's friends. As they began their journey, Yoshi handed Mario a beautiful cape. "This may help you," Yoshi said. "Some say it has magical powers. With a little luck, and help from a magic cape, our crew can defeat the 7 worlds of Bowser's crazy Koopa critters. Many locations are well hidden, so explore everywhere and try everything. Not all locations have to be explored to rescue the dinosaurs and save Princess Toadstool, but there are many starry treasures to be found in far-reaching places. You'll need to search all areas to find out what kinds of treasures there are in Super Mario World." Another straightforward Mario story. And while this game also features an overworld similar to Super Mario Bros. 3, including the manual's referenced Star Road, it only makes the journey seem longer. It doesn't actually contribute to any story elements in the game. It's a plot device which explains changing level design by basing it on certain areas of this world. And although you fight your way through the various castles to rescue Yoshi eggs, all in all, you know you're just working your way to save the princess yet again. Super Mario World's instruction manual states that this adventure began because Mario needed some rest after the events of Super Mario Bros. 3. But according to Mario Myths with Mr. Miyamoto, a video officially released by Nintendo UK, the events of Super Mario Bros. 3 were a play. Also, again, deeper into spoiler territory, even though the Super Mario Bros. 2 instruction booklet states that Mario had a dream about the world of Subcon and then woke up, and then found a door leading to Subcon the next day, at the end of the game you just find out he was asleep the whole time. Subcon is clearly short for subconscious. Mario 1 might be an adventure, but Mario 2 is nothing more than a dream. And look at the box art for Super Mario 2. Mario Madness? It's not just a dream, it's a fever dream that could well permanently send Mario into dementia. Then we go to Super Mario Bros. 3, and it's just a play. And it sounds like Super Mario World might just be nothing more than a continuation of the play itself. Even Bowser's sunken ship is pointed out in the map in Super Mario World. So is Super Mario 3 simply a dramatization, a retelling of what really happened in the events of the first Super Mario Bros. Game? Is Super Mario Bros. 3 the game that Miyamoto originally wanted to make but wasn't able to in the early days of the Nintendo Entertainment System? Does Super Mario World take place after Mario 1, which was retold in 3, or is Super Mario World still a part of the stage play from Mario 3? Look, I'm going to places I don't normally go on this channel, and I'm not even talking about spoiler territory, but comparisons. After 51 episodes of doing this, I've got to get this off my chest. The Mario games are confusing. The lore is inconsistent and nothing makes sense. Back in episode 26, I pointed out how quickly the Sonic the Hedgehog games, particularly Sonic 3 and carrying over into Sonic & Knuckles, were able to come up with a cohesive story, even telling it without the use of dialogue. But Mario never figured it out. Maybe Miyamoto has ideas, but even the first 4 games, the classic 4 I've covered in the last 2 videos, don't make any sense. And that's not to say anything of the plethora of other games. There's another title on the Super Nintendo I'm ignoring altogether in this video, and that's Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Has Mario actually been saving Princess Peach since she was a baby? How does Mario breathe in space in Mario Galaxy? Does Princess Peach really have magical paintings with entire worlds inside of them in her castle like in Super Mario 64? Is Paper Mario really just a story about Mario and not canon? Where do the Mario Land games fit in? And why does the princess keep getting captured? The manual for the very first game states that she is the daughter of the Mushroom King. Why can't he protect his daughter? And why have we never met him to receive his thanks? Yes, there are theories about many of these things, but why isn't there a cohesive and consistent universe for Mario to exist in? I'm terrified of what Super Mario Odyssey is going to bring me on the Switch because it just muddies the water even more with entirely new worlds like New Donk City and beyond. Oh, and look, I know what you're gonna say. This is just some Sega fanboy bashing on Mario and praising Sonic. No. Want my Nintendo cred? I own 2 Virtual Boys. I grew up the biggest Nintendo fan. I mocked Sonic the Hedgehog, and I thought the Genesis was a terrible system the first time I saw it. I was late to seeing one, but by the time I did, the Super Nintendo already had better graphics, and I thought the Genesis controller was a clunky piece of garbage. But at least Sonic Team knows how to tell a story. The team that would come to be known widely as Nintendo R&D 4 makes amazing, memorable, literally world-changing games. But they have a hard time with their fiction. They change worlds, reboot franchises, they just enjoy a premise of a game, but not a consistent world for their games to take place in. They treat each game as a unique, standalone story to tell, featuring a character you know and love. They seem to think of the characters they invent as members of a theater troupe and use them to tell whatever story they want to tell this time around, which goes a long way to explaining Super Mario Bros. 3. Think of the characters as actors and the game developers as people who just love playing good games, not people trying to invent a new form of interactive fiction. Coming to terms with all of that, I love these games. They're an undeniably huge part of my life. I might not be able to ever make sense of Super Mario or his many lands, worlds, and galaxies, but when it comes to the iconic character I love, I will certainly dive into whatever tale he's going to be featured in next. Because if video games are as big of a part of your life as they are mine, that story, the next, and the story after that are all just tiny parts of our story so far. Hey everybody, thanks for watching episode number 51 of Our Story So Far TV. It's been kind of an emotional roller coaster of its own. I mean, I'm not sitting over here crying or anything, but Super Mario is such an iconic franchise, and frankly, I'm not sure any video that I would ever make could actually do it justice. But it's just such a big part of my life, and probably most of your lives, that I just felt like I had to make a video to one of the best franchises of all time, even if it's not the best in the storytelling department. If talking about the stories, the fiction of video games interests you, come join me over at ourstorysofar.tv. You can also just send me a message over on Twitter, @NewAngel, that's NUANGEL, or just leave comments below here on YouTube. Since episodes 50 and 51 were back-to-back, I'm going to give myself just a little week off here, and you'll have a new episode ready in 2 weeks, just like you usually would. So until next time, take care of yourself.